Our next guest is a man who knows his league, and he has been giving information and breaking stories and doing great interviews for the last several years for the NFL Network, and a former producer of the Mike Missanelli show way back in the day. He is the great Mike Garafolo on the Comcast Business Hotline. Hello, Mikey.
Mikey, what's up, buddy?
How you doing? I know it's been a busy week for you, so we appreciate you spending a couple of minutes with us. So what's your feel this week when you've been at the practices, been interviewing people? What kind of vibe are you picking up that the Eagles can win this game or that the Chiefs can win this game?
No, I think it's supposed to save your pick for the end of the show. I really don't even make picks, but I do see the Eagles coming out on top of this one. I just think so much has changed in their benefit since these two teams last met 2 years ago, and I've kind of been, riding them when it comes to how I'm seeing these games here the last couple of months, because it's just incredible the style of play, the way that they are so hard to. Contain is not even the right word. You're running the ball with the efficiency that they're running. They're not going backwards. Everything moves forward with the offense, and then they don't give the ball up. 4 turnovers since I think November 10th was the date of that Washington Thursday night game. So when you're playing as efficiently as they're playing, and you've got teams who, I covered, two of the last 3 games, probably like 3 of the last 5, and talking at length with the teams that were coming in about how they spent the entire week talking about we've got to stop Saquon Barkley from breaking our backs, and then even in the case of the Washington game, it happens on the first play of the game. It's just there's no real blueprint to make that happen. It's going to have to be guys playing above the X's and O's. It's going to have to be Chris Jones being an absolute wrecking ball up front to stop this team from getting these second and third down and manageables, because when that happens, it doesn't matter what kind of blitz package Steve Spagnuolo can dial up. The Eagles have the answer for that kind of stuff. So it's the way I look at it and the way that I've gotten the feel this week is being around this Eagles team, as confident as they are, the fact that they've been here before. Some guys been here multiple times before. I just feel like so much is on their side right now.
Wow. All right, let's look at what Spagnuolo could do, because you're right. It doesn't matter if people gear up to stop the run, because eventually he's going to bust one and he's going to go for 60. Not many running backs do that anymore, and he breaks your heart defensively. So what do you expect Spagnuolo to do? The blitzes are all well and good against the quarterback that stays in the pocket and delivers the ball, but blitzing against the Eagles really, I don't think, works that well. So what do you think happens here defensively with Spags?
Yeah, he's got to try to force the issue on early downs. He's got to get them into behind the sticks. He's got to get them into second and longs. He's got to get them into third and long. So there's going to have to be some kind of that. We know what he does on third down. And really the incredible part, and I've known Spags since 2007, since he came to the Giants, or since he went to the Giants and became a defensive coordinator there. And he's just so humble that you try to, get into the idea of what he's doing and what he's dialing up. And I never get the full answers from him. He'll always credit the guys making the plays up front, but it's him. And it's like, we get in the third down, you hear Tony Romo or whoever's calling the game say, well, we know what Spags likes to do here. He wants to bring some pressure. Well, it's not just that he's bringing pressure. It's how he's bringing pressure. It's where he's bringing it from. The corner blitz that he had in the AFC Championship game was the perfect call from the perfect spot, knowing what look he was going to get. That's what it's going to have to be. But, again, you don't get into those spots with the Eagles unless you're doing stuff on first and second down. So there's going to have to be some run blitzing and something like that to really get some penetration in the backfield and start to, again, force the issue on that running game.
Talking to Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network. Mike, you've been studying the league all year. Well, the Eagles started off very slow. We didn't know what they were. What do you think was the turning point that shaped this team to what they are now?
Yeah, it was that bye week. Well, look, it was the bye week and the time that they took during the bye to get feedback from Jalen, ideally, or first of all, excuse me, and to marry it with the fact that Kellen Moore was still figuring out everything and figuring out the rest of the coaching staff and what he had from a personnel standpoint. You have a new offensive coordinator. You have a new centerpiece of the offense in Saquon Barkley. you're merging what you were doing offensively previously with what Kellen Moore wants to do, which I think they've done a phenomenal job. When you look at what this offense looks like, it's just the perfect marriage of what they did under Shane Steichen and to a certain degree under Brian Johnson, but what they did the last couple of years that Jalen felt comfortable with, because they don't want, him talking about his shackles or whatever not being, being taken out of them or whatnot. It's the way you got to play with him. I mean, I think they've done a great job of that, what he's comfortable with previously, married to what Kellen Moore was doing. As you see a 17-game season play out, and we're on the verge of 18, like eventually at some point, it just becomes so long that you go, these first 4 games don't even matter. Like, these first 4 games are all about figuring out who you are, and I think Belichick and the Patriots did as good a job of anybody in recent memory of saying the first quarter of the season is figuring out who we want to be over the last 3 quarters. And I think this Eagles team did a great job of that this year. That bye week reset, from everything I heard, was just incredible for them. And, you saw once they hit their stride, they knew exactly who they were, and they knew exactly how to defeat these defenses.
The old adage, it's gotten old to me now because I hear it so much, is that if you try to put the game in the hands of the quarterback where he has to throw it, you can't win. That doesn't happen because we don't get a chance to see it happen because the running game's been so good. Nothing's come up like that where we have any kind of sample size. But does that still apply as we get into the Super Bowl? If he does, I don't know, say he holds Saquon to 85, Jalen's got to make some throws. From what you see, are you confident that could be done?
Yeah, I also think that once you get into that time of the game, he can do it with his legs as well. I mean, when he's back there and he's scrambling for 20, 30 yards on a play where everything is covered up, I think that's a big part of what you can do in a comeback mode as well, because now that keeps the defense honest, and certainly they'll try to spy him or whatnot or try to contain him with their rush lanes and all that stuff. But I mean, I think that's a big part of it too as well. I don't look at it like, well, if they fall behind, they're dead. I think that's not where they want to be playing from. Obviously, they want to be playing. My wife doesn't watch football much, and we were watching the NFC Championship game together. And when it was 14-3? I said, well, game's over. She goes, what are you talking about? The game's over. I said, game's over. Washington can't play this kind of game against the Eagles. A lot of teams can't. And then it went to 14-12, and she said, you see, it's only 2 points. I said, it doesn't matter. They're getting closer, but the Eagles, eventually, the dam's going to break. They're going to pull away. So, obviously, if you're a team like the Chiefs, you want to come in, and I want to hold them to 3 points through the 1 quarter or quarter and a half. I want to feel good if I'm up 14-3, something like that. But, I'm still okay if I'm the Eagles. I still feel like I've got enough firepower, and I've got enough trust in this quarterback that if they have to play from behind, that they can certainly do that. I wouldn't look at it the same way if it was flipped that score with Washington and say, oh, the game's over. Certainly not. I think he's got the capability of leading them from behind.
All right, last question. As a Philadelphian, this will be the second Super Bowl championship. The city burst open during the first one. Could it even get more burst open the second one?
I think it could, because you appreciate it so much more having not taken it home a couple of years ago. I feel like this city is that much hungrier for it, and I'll be honest, Mike. Like when I was trying to explain this to my kids who are 7 and 4 and don't live in Philly. I said, you don't understand. When Daddy was an Eagles fan growing up, this never happened. And now it's happening every couple of years. So yeah. I almost thought after 17 that everybody was going to be like, God, you can take me now. I can die a happy. But even in 18, when they lost to the Saints, the disappointment, I was like, this city is hungry for repeat champions. They want to taste that again. And not having it happen a couple of years ago and seeing how disappointed people were, I said, well, this city is hungry for repeat champions. We don't want just one in our lifetime. That's not the way they're looking at it, So I think that it'll be quite the scene if they want to take it home.
This punk younger generation, all they know is winning. It's disgusting. When they don't have the pain and suffering that we used to have.
They don't remember the mid '80s. They don't remember.
No, they don't.
Even the early '90s.
Yeah.
It's and look, I can appreciate it, and I can appreciate what top down what Jeffrey Lurie has done. And I know that a couple of years ago we were talking about, he's interfering too much, but he's a passionate owner who wants to be involved to a certain extent, allows Howie Roseman to do what he needs to do. And I think what Howie has done, realizing that there were transitional periods for this team and knowing that you can't tear it down in Philly. Like, you can't tank in Philly. You have to remain competitive while you're, readjusting this. And I think, going back to the drafting of Jalen Hurts, I don't think he ever thought Jalen Hurts was going to be the franchise quarterback here. I think he thought Jalen Hurts was going to be a second-round pick that he can turn into a first-round pick. I think that's the way that he was thinking on that one.
I agree.
And it just so happened that he got himself a franchise quarterback, but that's part of the byproduct of planning ahead and doing things the right way, and they've just done a great job to set themselves up, not only for success the last couple of years, but for years to come.
Mike Garafolo from the NFL Network. Mikey, thank you so much. Continued success to you, and we'll look forward to your reports for this weekend.
You got it, pal. Thanks for having me. Everybody enjoy your Super Bowl weekend, whether you're here in New Orleans or back in Philly. Enjoy it.
All right, buddy. Thank you. There's Mike Garafolo checking in with us, South Philly man.
South Philly man, former producer of the Mike Missanelli Show.
Former producer, one of my former producers. They used to call him Little Cuz.
Oh, Little Cuz.
If Anthony was Big Cuz.
Big Cuz and Little
Cuz. Called him Little Cuz. All right, 610-632-0975. We'll take a break. Back after this with your calls.
Hey everybody, it's Bill Colarulo. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel so you can engage during the show, and you're not going to want to miss all the content that we post. It's not only the live videos, it's videos after the fact. It's our shorts. It's all the content you want as a Philadelphia sports fan. Looking forward to connecting.